Some of the most important moments of our lives begins with a signature. Signing a mortgage, signing a job offer, signing a marriage license. All contracts, all promises, all terms we agree to live by. But here's the truth. Not all contracts are written on paper. Some of the most dangerous ones are the internal contracts we sign in our lives. A contract at its core is a promise, an agreement that sets out the terms of a lease, of a job offer, of a mortgage, even a gym membership. Some are life-changing, some are routine, but they all shape how we live and what we commit to. We sign contracts with banks, with employers, with landlords, even streaming services. I think about this all the time because I'm a notary. I witness people signing some of the most important contracts of their lives: wills, power of attorneys, home sales, home purchases, mortgages. Of course, we're in Vancouver, right? And what strikes me is how carefully people review the terms when the stakes are high. People pause. They ask questions. They even refuse to sign something that feels unfair. But in life, we accept unfair terms all the time. We stay in jobs that undervalue us. We stay in relationships that don't allow us to grow. We commit to standards that quietly diminish us. So why is it that on paper we fight for fair terms, but in life, we don't? Is it because we don't have a contract to hold us accountable? So why don't we have a contract with ourselves? One that reminds us of our promises and holds us accountable to them. One of the clearest examples in my life was early in my career. On paper, it looked like a great opportunity, a chance to gain experience in the field I loved. So I told myself, it's time to prove my worth. And I made an internal contract with myself. Be grateful for any chance you get. The terms of the contract showed up everywhere. I consistently worked more than I was compensated for. I managed an entire office, but I was told I was not ready to lead. And I would stay quiet even when I was treated unfairly. And some of you may be living by similar terms. Working overtime but feeling invisible. Accepting less pay because that's just how it is. And swallowing your voice in meetings, afraid of what it may cost you. The breaking point for me came when I asked for some time off to visit my grandfather, who had just had a stroke. I hadn't seen my family in years. My request was denied. No compassion, no flexibility. Just the message that my job was above all else, even my humanity. That's when I realized this contract isn't healthy. And just like any unfair agreement, it's time to terminate the contract and pay the damages. But it wasn't only in my professional life that I was living under unfavorable terms. I also stayed in relationships that did not serve me. On the surface, the promises looked good. But the hidden terms and the fine prints chipped away at my confidence. The contract terms were never spoken out loud, but the clauses were clear. I would give more than I would receive. I would take care of someone who wouldn't take care of me. And I would even stay when I felt powerless. For a while, I felt stuck. And then I would tell myself, this is normal. This is what I committed to. The breaking point came when I looked ahead and I asked myself, do you want to live like this for the remainder of the term? And the answer was no. And just like in my professional life, it was time to terminate this contract too. These moments in my professional life and my relationships taught me that sometimes we don't review the terms when agreeing to those internal contracts we make in our relationship, in our career path, and in our daily agreements, until we hit a breaking point. So what does a healthy contract look like? Because whether it's on paper or in our minds, all good contracts have an underlying theme. A healthy contract creates balance. It's not one-sided. Both sides give and receive fairly. A healthy contract is realistic. It protects your growth and your identity. The terms can actually be lived by. And it doesn't demand the impossible or keep on moving the finish line. And most of all, a healthy contract honors your worth. It makes clear what you bring to the table. And it doesn't shift the terms because you're gaining strength. And when I finally realized that, I stopped accepting terms that diminished me, and I began writing new ones. Contracts that supported my goals. They allowed me to grow and honored my worth. And then everything changed. In my career, I meant stepping out from someone else's terms and building a practice of my own. I went from being underpaid and unheard to leading a successful practice recognized for service, integrity, and community. In my personal life, it meant raising my standards. It meant choosing relationships that honored my worth. And today, I have a partner who shows up for me in every way possible. Just like how I show up for him, of course. We support each other socially, emotionally, and push each other to grow in every way possible. So let me ask you this. What contracts are you living under right now? What silent agreements have you accepted in your relationships, in your jobs, or even with yourselves that no longer serve you? And if you could rewrite the terms, what would they say? I want you to hold one sentence in your minds, one clause that no longer deserve your signature. Because the truth is, you are the one writing the terms. The most important contract you'll ever sign isn't on paper. It isn't with a bank, an employer, or even another person. It's the one that you sign with yourself. So promise yourself this, that the contract you'll sign for your own life will never diminish you. That it will honor your worth and reflect the truth of who you are. That it will let you live fully with strength, integrity, and without apology. Thank you.